Bitcoin ETF decision is in. The SEC have given us their decision, their thoughts, and their comments on the Bitcoin ETF. That's going to be the topic of this morning's video. Good morning, everybody. Okay, first of all, what is an ETF? An ETF is an exchange traded fund, which basically allows Bitcoin to be traded on the stock exchange, allowing that huge institutional investment to flow into crypto. Something that a lot of us have been waiting for about the last 6 years. What is the SEC? The SEC is the Security Exchange Commission, which is an American regulatory body which either approve or disapprove these ETFs. So they have finally given us our decision, and we're going to unpack that in a little bit more detail. So for the past 6 years, we have been waiting and hoping that we could get an ETF approved, that Bitcoin could be traded on the stock exchange, and this would bring massive investment into the crypto space. But it has been rejected or delayed time and time again. We had FunX, SolidX, they launched the ETF application, and as they were engaging with the SEC and talking to them and proposing their solutions, they came to a point where they simply withdrew their application. I think the reason that they withdrew their application was probably because they realized that it was going to get rejected, and they possibly didn't want this rejection on record. They found a bit of a loophole, and they were able to offer a kind of an ETF to clients that they know, and this was launched. But of course, it's not the real deal. It's not a full-blown ETF. It's a very much watered down version of what could be. Now, Bitwise, of course, they had their ETF application in, and they were very positive. They wanted to be one of the first guys that actually got it approved, because as the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ecosystems matured and we got to a point where we thought that a ETF is gonna be approved. I want to just cut across to a clip that shows Matt Hogan. He's one of the chief research people in Bitwise, and his optimism and why he thinks that the SEC is going to approve this decision.
Bitcoin ETFs, we still get emails, folks. I can't tell you. It's yet another deadline. Go ahead, laugh, Matt. That's why we have you here. It's another deadline for a long-delayed Bitcoin ETF. After turning down application after application, the SEC is expected to issue a ruling by next Monday on one of the last Bitcoin ETFs that's still outstanding. This one from Bitwise Investments. Fortunately, we have an update from Bitwise's Matt Hogan. Matt, it's hard to describe what a long and winding road this is. Are we any closer? You've spent a lot of time at the SEC explaining your model. Are they any more receptive to the idea than they were a year and a half ago when they basically shut the whole thing down?
Oh, absolutely, Bob. You got to think about everything that's changed in the Bitcoin market over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, there were no regulated insured custodians in the Bitcoin market. Today, there are almost 10. They're big names like Fidelity and Coinbase. They have hundreds of millions of dollars of insurance from firms like Lloyd's of London. 2 years ago, there were no regulated crypto exchanges. Now, 6 of the 10 big crypto exchanges are regulated by the New York Department of State with market surveillance technologies in place. And most importantly, 2 years ago, it was a one-sided, inefficient market. Today, we have $200+ million in volume in regulated futures every day. Jane Street and Susquehanna and other big market makers are in the market. The market is trading at penny-wide spreads. It's among the most efficient institutional markets in the world. So not just the work that Bitwise did. Yes, we submitted a lot of research to the SEC and met with them multiple times, but just the evolution of the Bitcoin market over the last 2 years is from night to day. And that's why I think we're closer than we've ever been before to getting a Bitcoin ETF approved.
So as you can see, there's a lot of hopium around a Bitcoin ETF. And Matt Hogan certainly makes a lot of good points. And it seems plausible that the SEC would actually approve an ETF. Now, the deadline to approve this ETF, and this is the final deadline, the SEC can no longer delay their decision, is the 13th of October 2019. Now, today is only the 10th of October, and yet the SEC was a little bit early for a change and came out with their decision on the 9th of October. And their decision was no. ETF is rejected. Now, if we go through this article, we can see, because they are obliged to say why that they rejected the ETF, and they have said that the two issues, the issue of custody as well as the issue of market manipulation, were not adequately proved to them by Bitwise. So Bitwise failed to prove that those two issues could not take place. And as a result, the ETF has been rejected. Now, this is very interesting because the markets responded in a different way. If we look at altcoin trader, we can see Bitcoin trading at 139,000 Rand per coin, which is reasonably up from what it was. And from the time that the news has come out, if we look at coin market cap, we can see Bitcoin's up, Ethereum's up, and the coins are all up substantially. What does this mean? Does this mean that the market has simply got to the point where it is numb and does not care about the news of an ETF? So is an ETF even good for Bitcoin, or are we trying to put a round peg into a square hole? With a gold ETF, many have argued that paper representation of gold has allowed the elite to manipulate the gold price for many, many years. A lot of people also saying that there is more paper gold in existence than real gold, even though the gold ETFs have to be physically backed by real gold. But is that the case, or are the elite and the authorities manipulating the gold price? And when we get to a point where these systems start to unravel, gold and precious metals like that have the potential of exploding and exploring their true and real value. Anyway, very interesting topic. The ETF, does Bitcoin need it? Apparently not. The markets have spoken and said, we do not need a Bitcoin ETF. Is it a good thing for institutions to come into crypto at this stage on a big scale and start to manipulate the price? Maybe not. Is the Bitcoin price currently being manipulated with the players that are in the marketplace? That a lot of people would say yes. And there's a lot of speculation that it is in fact being manipulated. This manipulation of a scarce commodity like Bitcoin cannot continue forever. And that is when we will see Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs. That's it from me, guys. If you like my comments, if you like my channel, please subscribe. I'm out.